Harriet.
Hello, Nick.
Yeah, this is a real treat. Um, well, I hope it'll be a treat for our people listening, but actually we will be because we've got some
We've
interesting
got
things
some
coming
things
up.
to tell them,
Yeah.
haven't we?
So we thought we would come together and have a bit of a kind of state of the nation or state of the Northern College acupuncture
Yeah,
conversation. So you up for that?
yeah,
Cool,
definitely.
cool. I think it's probably just kind of worth. I mean, a lot of people listening to this will be our ex-students or people followed or patients or some or whoever they
People who
connect
are
with
part of our college
part of
community.
our college community. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously the kind of if you know our history, the college started as an idea with me and Hugh in 1987, opened
Yeah,
up in 88. This is ironic that you were in our first intake.
I was.
You were our first
Absolutely.
intake as student.
Graduated in 1991. So,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I was just reflecting on this the other day, Harriet. I think for you to sign up as a student then, when we had no reputation, whatever, that was a lot of
It could
trust.
have been anybody.
Could have been anyone. Whereas now, we've got nearly 40 years of experience. People know that
Yes.
we that we turn out. That's an awful word. We educate acupuncturists to a really, and people love. Uh, we love what we're doing, and people love it. Um, So yeah, I think it's interesting. Love to have the conversation. You are currently our interim principal.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Amazing, isn't it? What a
Yeah, yeah,
turnaround. Yeah.
yeah. So should we say how that happened?
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
think it's
think that'd
interesting.
be really useful because it is a bit surprising under the circumstances. I've suddenly popped up out of nowhere.
What's surprising for you or surprising for other
But
people?
definitely for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, the first thing to say is you're in a very small club. We had
Yes,
Hugh as a principal for many, many years, and then we had Richard for many, many years, and then suddenly had you. So
yeah.
the other kind of, so it's a very,
It's not many principals, given the fact the college has been going for all of that time, is it? Really?
yeah, yeah. But it's interesting.
Richard did the big long stint. Let's.
Richard did a big long stint. But it's interesting though, isn't it? Although we had a stability all around principles with a theme running through, we've always been quite an innovative. We did the first degree.
Yeah,
We've always been quite
supposed to be
innovative.
accredited by
First
the
to be
PAB.
accredited.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we have tried to have that stability and then kind of innovation.
Yes.
And I think the story of how you became interim principal kind of goes in a way back to kind of COVID times, doesn't it?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people can remember COVID. It was, I was speaking with lots of different acupuncturists and lots of different people at the time, and it's the same for people in their practices. Suddenly
Yes.
having to change and do things differently, and showing up certain things that were you really liked, certain things you didn't really like. It was a very difficult time, but yet, and also a time where, uh, as practitioners, we could make the biggest difference out there in the world, and at the same time, we were being restricted from our ability to do it. Anyway, we know it was difficult. And I think what we did at the college with our online teaching, I think we did it reasonably well.
Hmm.
And I'll use the word reasonably well because we now know how to do it really well.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, I think COVID generally really, really, caused a speedy development in online
Yeah.
teaching and learning and those virtual environments for education.
Yeah.
It's all coming anyway, but that's really, really speeded it up.
Mm.
And the technology, of course, has also
Yeah.
moved on apace, giving us the opportunities to do all kinds of engaging, exciting things online.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was push, but it created something else. And then there was the other bit that we really noticed at that period of time, which was that we suddenly had a wider range of people that could and wanted to train as acupuncturists because there was an accessibility.
Yes.
Um, and I think that was when we really thought, you know what, if we could make this more accessible to more people, but still keep maintaining the standards, then, more people could, and you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, well, yes, accessible, it's flexible. So, if you've got a
Mm,
family or you're working, then you can access learning materials at your own leisure in your own time,
Mm,
as well as have those really engaging kind of online group activities when you are working together with other people.
mm,
On top of all your practical work and clinical work where you are face to face and everything,
yeah,
it does make it much more accessible
yeah. Because you're still doing the practical hands-on learning and all that stuff. You're still having the group interactions. You still got that.
absolutely.
Yeah, you just don't have to travel, get on a train and stay overnight
Well,
and have the expense.
well, that's it. I mean, when I was studying, it was hugely expensive to
Mm,
come up every other weekend to York
yeah.
and stay overnight and all that kind of thing. I mean, it really made a
Mm,
big difference. So it is more economical for people to have
yeah.
some of their learning that they can just do from home.
Yeah. And also, I think, one of the things I recognized, because I was out teaching and that was a cost to my family,
Yeah,
and if we're students and thing, there is a cost to the people around us because we're not there.
yeah, that's
So it has
that's
an
very true.
advantage.
People are increasingly interested in learning to become an acupuncturist. We're recruiting students at the moment, and what I'm hearing is that they're all talking about how transformative acupuncture treatment has been for them, and they want to do that now because it's a really beautiful way to live your life, to
Yeah.
be engaged in that transformative process and returning people to wellness and good health. It's a lovely thing to do.
Mm. And I want to pick up on the fact that many of our students have had transformative experiences as a result of acupuncture, and who has done the transformative experiences? Many of our graduates. And
Yeah,
of course, people from other colleges as well, because many colleges educate, etc. But it's like the ability of acupuncture to transform lives, to then create this desire that I then want to transform lives as well. You know, it's a blessed
it is.
existence, isn't it?
It's a really lovely space to work in, isn't it? It's a really
Yeah.
lovely space.
A while ago, I gave you some advice about being interim principal, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, and I said, basically, just be yourself, Harriet. It's as we are, as practitioners, we're at our best when we're being ourselves. But you are ideal. Were the very few, you've been acupuncturists, you know all the regulatory stuff, and you do the really important thing is you listen, you have conversations, and it's just fantastic. I just want to thank you. I know
Well,
this wasn't the plan.
it's very nice of you to say so. It's a really great honor, actually. I mean, I do feel a bit overwhelmed at times because there was very little lead up to this. It was just like, oh, we need somebody, and I happen to be there.
You happen to be ideal.
Happen to be
Yeah,
ideal.
yeah,
But I tell you what, when you've been retired for a couple of years, you get used to a very well, I have anyway, used to a very relaxed lifestyle. So
yeah,
it's quite a shock to the system to,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
our staff are so wonderful,
Mm.
and it's been such a pleasure to go around and meet with all the students and
Mm.
just connect and hear about what things have been like for them and how we can make things better.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so it's yeah, no, it's lovely. There's
Mm.
just an awful lot to do. That's the thing.
Yeah. And also I think it's thinking about the staff we have, the students, the building we have, but the essence of the college are all those things, and the graduates and the people that are connected with it and the patients that have been to the clinic. There is a whole, which is kind of why we wanted to do this discussion,
Yes, it is
to
really. I
to
mean,
recognize.
I went into college at the weekend a little while ago to say goodbye to the final year students because it
Yeah.
was their last session in college, and we had some prosecco and some no secco, and we toasted their success at getting through all their work and not having to take an exam again and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I had such a lovely conversation with some of them, and they said, you know, because they've been doing, of course, it means they do have to come and stay in accommodation in York all the time.
Mm.
Um, that they're hosts that are regular hosts for
Mm.
acupuncture students, so they are really engaged with what's going on at the college as well as the patients and students, families, and friends, as you say, they need all the support from home in order to be able to do the program. And so there's a much wider community around the college than I had quite realised actually.
Yeah.
So partly we wanted to do this chat to sort of keep everybody up to speed with what's happening, and that I'm now in place as principal, and I do have a a background as an acupuncturist and have worked in the field of acupuncture, most of my working life, and that I'm so excited to be there and to be really helping everything to get back to our values and the things that we think are really important
Mhm.
about the education that we provide and who we are as an acupuncture profession.
Yeah. And it is glorious to be an acupuncturist.
It is really
Yeah,
good.
it is. It's a privilege. And I think, this phase that we're moving into with society and culture changing and health and I think there is no better time to be starting your journey or being in your journey.
Yeah.
But I
There's-
want to just finish this off with one thing that I had a couple of months ago. I was at an event and one of our ex-students came up, and they were no, weren't just an ex-student, they were a graduate, and they had been practicing acupuncture for years and years. And I said, "How are you doing?" And they said, "Well, I've just retired." I said, "Oh, have you?" And I'm thinking, suddenly feeling very old. And they said to me, Nick, that was a life well lived. That was a career. That
oh,
was a.
that's a
I just thought, wow, if you can and someone can say, that was a career well lived. That was a what a privilege to have that as an experience for someone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and then we all and I know the acupuncturists that recommended to them this person to go and train. So it's like it's
Nick, you're really giving your age away.
a good age way, but it
Now.
is a blessing. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up here because I'm getting all tearful. But thank you, Harriet, for this conversation, and I hope it's been helpful for everybody,
Really welcome.
everyone
It's lovely
listening.
to talk to you, Nick.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay.
very much.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.